Let's look at it. What do you think so far? Fun stuff. Wood turning is very fun. I thoroughly enjoy it. And I love making things for you to look at and enjoy art. I love it. It's kind of like a ferro rod handle, huh? Just a simple shape. I have to make the handle smaller because this is going to be a small wand. I need a huge handle and then a tiny wand. Actually, what I should do, when I think about it, is just go ahead and make the handle out of this and make the wand out of walnut. What do you think? I'll put a hole in it and I'll put the walnut in there and then we'll make the wand. Let's do that. So I can make it a little bit longer because I don't like little tiny. I like big stuff. Let's see, here we go. Alright, I decided to add this. I hope it doesn't look too bad. We'll cut it off right here. I'll turn some walnut and then turn it to the size of the hole I drill in here. Hopefully. Isn't that a plan? Turn that down some. I gotta add a fast speed. There we go. Came right off. Let's sand it up some. And then I'll see about the wood burning part. I'm going to look into it just a little bit before I do it. We'll do something simple like some dots or lines or something. I don't want to do something too complicated. Alright, I cut a piece of walnut off of the board. I don't need a whole lot that I know of. It'd be pretty small. Okay, where's my caliper? There we go. Okay, let me measure the hole. Or I can measure the drill bit, right? Either one. All right, we'll see if that is the right size. We'll just take it slowly, make sure that we don't go too far down. Put that in there. That'd be beautiful. I love walnut. It's beautiful wood. Beautiful, beautiful wood. Let me get this on. There we go. Very good. Very nice. Okay, I'm going to glue that on. And this will be beautiful. What do you think? Let's get some Loctite glue on here. I don't feel like dealing with regular glue right now. I really don't. I should have put that on last. I wasn't thinking. It's okay. This is awesome. What do you think? Awesome stuff. Ow! Ow! That glue got on me and burned me. It was so freaking hot. Usually doesn't burn me like that, but today is an exception to the rule. This will be beautiful. Gorgeous. Who out there likes wands? All right, what do y'all think? Okay, it's probably pretty dry right now. I didn't let it stay a long time, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. What do you guys think so far? Pretty good? It needs to be shaped better than that right there. I need to slope it down right through here. Hope I can do it. I think that I can't mess with it right now because it might snap it. I use some sandpaper and we'll get it down a little bit right there. So let's sand this up, and then later on I'll see if I can do some wood burning. Ooh, that's hot. That's beautiful stuff. Now what I should do is probably get the tip going and get it off. Let me do something here. Let me loosen it up so I can pull it out a little more. All right, let's do this. Have a nice long tip. Then I'll turn it around so we can do the handle later, right? All right, I'm gonna smooth it off right there on the tip by hand. That right there takes a lot of learning practice to do. I remember when I first started cutting things off, I couldn't do it right. Because you gotta learn. You gotta learn things, right? Watch people, see how they do things and see what they say. It's gonna be beautiful. It'd be beautiful the way it is. Now I have to sand it and stuff, but it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a gorgeous wand. That's more like the size and length of a wand that I really like. That's more practical. That's more like it should be. We need to get this mounted back on there so I can draw some lines on here, like a graph would be or something, a little bit. So I have something to go by because my hand is not going to be going very straight if I don't have something to guide me. Let me get this. This is hot and I don't want to unplug it. This is just a cheap wood burning little bitty kit, so it's not any professional thing, that's for sure. I'm gonna put it through the headstock. It should go through the hole, but I have to protect it. Can y'all see what I'm doing? I'm sorry about that. Let's see. I don't know how far in I'm going to put it, so I'm going to wrap this around this now. Because the chuck jaws will... Okay, I don't want to scar it. I still need to sand it some, really. By hand. So if I had something like a pen, chuck jaws and stuff to make pens that you write with, it probably would be better than this, but this is all I have, so we'll go with this. I'll be back. I'm gonna sand this by hand just a little bit and then I'll be back, okay? I don't want you to be bored, so let me rip this off. It's in the way. I don't know why I put the tool rest over there. I'm so used to doing it. It's just an automatic habit, just a habit. Just out of the way. So all I'm doing is just sanding it some. I'm gonna use some finer sandpaper. This is 220 here. Sanding can be monotonous and tiresome, but it's necessary. It's an extremely important step that I would not skip. When I first started making things, I did not sand by hand. You can sand it on the lathe, and it does sand it, but it doesn't sand it to a fine, you can get it pretty soft, but not as fine and smooth as by hand. Why, I do not know. I'm not an expert, so I couldn't tell you. All I know is from experience and the pieces that I started sanding by hand are much smoother than the pieces I just sanded on the lathe, and that was it. They're much smoother. It does matter. Details matter, believe it or not. Little details. You ever seen a Corvette and it's all beautiful and perfect paint job and everything, but if it gets one little dent in it, it just stands out like a sore thumb. You ever seen that? That's the same thing. It's not really standing out, but it really makes a difference. So, I don't want to belabor the point. I just want to stress how important it is. That's all. This is 320, I bet. Yeah, this is 320. This is 320. So I figure I'd sand a little bit on the video camera. And I've used 1,000 and 1,500 and stuff like that. Now that's for metal. That is not for wood that I know of. I mean, every time I've gone really high with this grit, sandpaper grit, it is always been for metal at that point. I mean, you can use it on there. The only downside is that if you don't watch it, the dark color of the sandpaper will start getting in your wood. So you gotta be careful with that. This right here will make it so smooth. Pretty cool. I mean, handles, doing wands and stuff is not hard at all. It was more complicated when I first started because I didn't know what all I was doing. I mean, it was my first handle. I mean, your first time you do something, you're going to be pretty rough on the edges. So, this is pretty small too. This is not a huge, big, bulky handle like the first ones I made. And I've noticed online when people are wood turning wands, they are pretty small. So, my dad, years ago, he had a pointer. He had a piece of wood that was a pointer stick. I don't remember what he used it for. He may have used it at work or something, you know. Back in the day, before they had the internet, stuff like that. And wrote things on chalkboards and stuff. And you know, I was just thinking, back when I did first start sanding it by hand, I vaguely remember that I couldn't sand on the lathe, and there were some areas that really were bad or something, and I had to sand it by hand, so I was forced to do that. And when I did, that's when I stumbled across and discovered how wonderful it is to sand it by hand, and that makes it much better. So if that flaw and that error didn't occur, I would have not known. I may have eventually sanded it by hand, coming across a video or something. Most videos, they try to sell you stuff and claim all this, you buy this and it makes it smoother and shinier and all this fancy stuff. I'm like, no. All you have to do is just sand it by hand. Now, you can get sanding sealer too. Sanding sealer's good stuff. I reckon that seals the pores. Any pores that might be like open. I don't know. I've not read about it. All I know is it does work. It is better. It is smoother. I've sanded pieces without it, and I've sanded pieces with it. And it does seem like the pieces I used sanding sealer on were smoother. So it does make a difference. So some people claim it just doesn't work, it's just a waste of money, but it might be. It does make it's not that much that it's a big deal. You can do without it. So anyway, I'll be back. I just want to see what it'd do if I turned on the lathe and put this on there. Now I had to put it in reverse. Actually, it's going forward. Reverse is when I would turn it. I remember when I first got the lathe. It was funny. So, got it set up and everything and turned it on, start wood turning, and it wouldn't really cut. And I'm like, what in the world's going on? So I started looking at instructions and looking at things. I'm like, well, maybe it's because it's in reverse. I mean, not reverse. Maybe it's because it's in forward mode. There's a switch up here. You see that switch right there? You can put in reverse is when I would turn. Forward is when, if you're sanding or something, and then you just, put it so the sand, wood dust and stuff goes away from you. And I usually just don't use that mode anyway. I don't care. I just put on a mask or whatever, some protection. Sometimes I don't, which is not good, I don't need it in my lungs and stuff. But, well, anyway, so what I'll do is I'm going to unplug this for now. I'm just going to use a Sharpie to put, I did this with one of the wands that I made in the past for a young lady. And I also did it for Dish Outdoors when I did her cup with a lid on there. I thought that was pretty interesting. Why not? I mean, it's like paint. That's all it is. It's not a big deal. You can do whatever you want to with your stuff, right? The bad thing about these Sharpies these days, they don't last long. They do not last. No, they don't. I got that too far down. I didn't want to get it that far down. Really didn't. It's wearing it off too. It's wearing off the tip. That's not good. Why is it not? See, it's running it. I'm running the thing. Who cares? You see how this Sharpie holds together? You know why? Because it's old. It's really old. It's probably 25, 30 years old. And it still works. And the tip doesn't wear off that easily. See, they make cheap crap in China these days. That's why. I'm not saying it wouldn't wear it off. It's wearing off just a little bit, but not like that black Sharpie. That black Sharpie being stupid. Let me make some dots. All right, I had a bunch of Sharpies somewhere, and I cannot find them to save my life. But you know, when I don't need them, I see them all the time. Isn't that ironic? Okay, I got this pencil, and I wanted to use yellow. Hey, it is done. It is finished. It's not perfect. I made some mistakes. I tried to do some wood burning, making lines and stuff, and I deleted all those clips. It was just a mess. So I had to resand it. So I'm just sharing this with you so you know the brutal truth. I had such a hard time with it. I don't have the correct tip that I really need, and it's more expensive to buy, and it's much sturdier and easier to make lines. So that's why I would have to buy, and I just am not going to do that right now. Anyway, so I resorted to just using the tip and just make little dots. And the first time I did make some dots, and I tried to get rid of them by sanding. I didn't get rid of all of them. So anyway, you know, I used to be a big perfectionist, okay? And over the years, as I've gotten older, I've had to let that go and realize what really is most important. I'm a much happier person that I accept it with flaws and all, because none of us are perfect anyway. When you think about human beings, we're not perfect neither. We have our flaws, we have our failures, we have our shortcomings. And so, you know, you learn to accept art with its failures and let it be the way it is and accept it for the beauty it is. And you learn to start seeing, how would you say, beauty out of ashes. Okay? And you realize that, you know, when you're taking a piece of wood, raw piece of wood, and you're wood turning it to make something beautiful, even if it's not perfect, it's still beautiful. So it may still have some flaws in it because it didn't turn out the way you had in your mind. That's okay. So we got the dots on there. They're not perfectly lined up, but I got them going sideways. I've learned a lot over this. So it turned out to be actually a beautiful piece of art, a beautiful wand. It's gorgeous. I love it. I love the walnut, and I love that I made it yellow here. And I was playing around with the Sharpies and stuff here, and even the wood burning. I was trying to wood burn it through here, or back through here, excuse me. And it just was not doing very well. I just forget it. I'm just going to use a Sharpie. So anyway, that's what we did, and it really turned out lovely. I mean, it's nice and long, and it's slender. You can hold it in your hand very, very well. Extremely well. It's not some bulky thing. And then the first ones I made, you can still hold them in your hand pretty well. You really can. But they're a little bit bigger than they should have been. So regardless, it really turned out nicely. I decided to leave the walnut alone. I was thinking on painting it all black, and I thought, no, I'm going to leave it alone. And I'm glad I did. It's absolutely gorgeous stuff. So anyway, I hope y'all are doing well. I hope y'all are smiling, because I'm smiling. I'm glad to share my art. I'm glad to share anything that I've learned with anybody that might not know something I know there's plenty of videos out there, learning videos, people who teach. I'm not a teacher. I'm just somebody who loves to turn wood and make art. I love art. And I got to figure out what else I want to wood turn next. I don't know why I decided to do a wand. I think what happened is I came across the thumbnail and I started watching the video. This guy had done something kind of like this, but his is much better looking because he has lines in it that I wanted to put, but I couldn't do it. And I decided, oh yeah, let me do a wand again. I hadn't done a wand in a while. Why not? I mean, you can only wood turn so many things, okay? And then you got to get more and more creative. So it's hard to just keep going like that. You just would turn the same things, but you just get more creative with it. And that's wonderful. You just build upon building blocks, right? And always remember, I hadn't said it in a little while lately, never give up. Okay? All right. Keep it turning and burning out there. We did some wood turning and wood burning. That's right. We didn't do the normal wood burning of fat wood, but we did some wood burning. That's right. So you can see it. Beautiful wand. It's absolutely gorgeous. It really is. See? All right, we got it. We got it. We got her. All right. Y'all have a wonderful evening, wonderful afternoon, a wonderful weekend coming up. And my cat, my baby says, y'all have a wonderful day. She's talking. All right. Bye-bye.